Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Playerspectives Podcast, where we invite fellow streamers to talk about their personal video game and streaming history, which we have dubbed their Playerspectives. I am one of your hosts, the girl who is on a mission to conquer the darkness, Alicia from Ultramelon.
And I'm the boy who's not ready for his summer vacation, and Matt from Ultramelon.
And here with us today, not afraid to do the fusion dance with Waluigi, ready to bust out of audio jail, champ in the making, Bradley Rose. Hi, Bradley. How are you?
Hey. Fusion dance with Waluigi. Very good reference to my art. Yeah.
That was a Matt original.
Yeah, when I came into your stream the last time and I saw that you had finally added some emotes, and they were your wonderful, wonderful art of combining the 150 Pokemon.
151
Pokemon with Waluigi. It was brilliant. It was brilliant.
So good.
And it could not go unmentioned.
Yeah, they're called Rocket monsters. Waluigi-ized Pokemon. Want to talk about them?
So why did that happen? What inspired that situation?
Yeah. So this was 5 years ago or so. I don't know. First of all, it was like I drew in high school and college. I want to get back to drawing, but it helps to have a project to push you towards what am I working towards? So for some reason that goal was I'm going to put Waluigi on Pokemon and no one can stop me. And so it was like every day I would draw Waluigi-ized Pokemon as a thing just to help practice, and it was, I don't know what conversation started for me to do that.
Amazing. Whatever it started with, it ended with glorious Pokemon.
The thing that I love about it, too, is that you say it was practice, but they're so awesome. The creativity.
Yeah, it's like when you, a lot of skills that you might pick up, like with language or music or whatever. If you stop for a long while and you pick it back up, it's easy to get back up and running again. So I did draw a lot growing up. So so drawing those, I'm glad you appreciate it. Years later, I was just like, just going through my old sketchbook, and you saw a clip. You saw it because you played these cool clips whenever someone raids.
Yeah.
And then you saw my secret, that one stream I clipped of showing Woglet and Wogtrio, which is just Waluigi's head in the ground, playing sock puppets. Yeah. So because of y'all, that's why I added the emotes, because there was good reception. I was like, well, give the players what they want.
I'm glad
you're welcome to the world.
Glad we have mutual inspiration on that.
Yeah.
And it should not be a secret. It should be let out and let everybody know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as we usually start on the Playerspectives Podcast, we are going to do a role play question, and there actually was a tiebreaker vote, a last-minute buzzer-beater tiebreaker.
Oh, damn.
I know.
That's exciting.
Yes. And the question has been decided to be, you are abducted by a video game and taken into that video game world. Which video game would you want to abduct you?
All right. This is a tough one, but I think I'm going to go with a game I have not played before, but I think would be a great idea. Cooking Mama.
So Cooking Mama Cook Off?
Cooking Mama?
Cooking Mama. You know that game series?
I'm familiar with it.
Matt
I have not played it myself, too.
Yeah.
But I've always been intrigued, and I know people love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's the couple reasons I've got. One is I think I'll be less likely to die cooking.
That's true.
In Cooking Mama. But hey, if anyone listening and maybe you're a Cooking Mama veteran, like, don't you know? Like, there's aliens that come and threaten your life if you don't cook well.
Ooh.
But also too, I could use some cooking skills upgrade. So I think Cooking Mama will teach me some new dishes, and that would be great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God.
So you're in Cooking Mama. Love it. I understand. There are apparently secret aliens. So you're just like working at the Cooking Mama's restaurant, learning how to cook. Everything is great. And then one day this giant beam of light starts shining from the sky. And you look up through the glass ceiling, okay, because Cooking Mama, glass ceiling in the restaurant. I think it'd be cool. You look up and there's this giant UFO above you, okay? Giant UFO. And they beam the entire Cooking Mama restaurant, up to the UFO. And they're like, Bradley and Cooking Mama. Why are they robots? I don't know.
It's their translator that's coming through.
There we go. Yes, the translator.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to understand them.
Perfect. Bradley and Cooking Mama, hello. We have heard about you on our planet C3PO.
That's the name of the planet?
Don't worry about it. And we want to try your grilled cheese. So Cooking Mama looks at you and Cooking Mama is freaking out, okay? So you go into the kitchen and you're just like, all right, I'm Bradley Rose. I got this. I'm going to make a grilled cheese. Make a grilled cheese. It's amazing. You look and there is a secret stash of some kind of poison in the corner of the restaurant. Maybe there was an infestation. Who knows? Maybe Cooking Mama is secretly poisoning people. There is a poison in the corner, and you're holding this grilled cheese. Do you poison the aliens to get away, or do you deliver a delicious grilled cheese?
Let's see. I don't know. Did you say that they're threatening me yet?
No. They just want a grilled cheese.
Not.
Yeah, they're chilling.
Okay, yeah. No, okay, yeah. So what I'll do is I'm going to do the old cut the grilled cheese in half triangle thing, right? So there's two, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to take the poison and put it on the one that's for me and on my side. And then I'm going to deliver it to them. So when I deliver it, I'm like, hey, I cut it in half, just like it's tradition in many areas of the earth. We cut it like this. It's cute and nice, and just like when you're growing up. Yeah. So I'm going to hand over the one that's not poison to them, and I have the one in front of me, and I'll be like, I'm really full and stuff. And then they'll be like, so if they think I poisoned theirs, they're going to switch, and then they'll die. If they trust me, they'll eat theirs, and then if they're kind, then I won't eat mine, and then I won't die. But if they eat it and they're like, haha, sucker, I'm going to eat the rest of yours and kill you. And I'm like, great. And then they eat mine and then they die. That's my plan.
Whoa. This is this inspired by The Princess Bride?
A little, but not like, being all like, oh, let me just think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 forever steps ahead. It's just I let them lead, and then I just choose the option that, I want to see if they're kind first. And then if they're not kind, I have a backup weapon, the other half.
The other half of the grilled cheese. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So it turns out that they're kind. They're lovely people. They just want to try Cooking Mama's kitchen, okay? And Cooking Mama has recovered a little bit. She's sitting in the corner drinking some water, she's chilling. And she says, Bradley, I'm so hungry. Oh my God, I'm starving. I need that grilled cheese half. I need it. And you're holding this grilled cheese that is laced with poison. And Cooking Mama reaches for the grilled cheese. She grabs it. She's about to put it in her mouth. What do you do?
Wham! And then I hit it out of the dish out, and I went, oh, sorry, I did the fusion with Waluigi before, and I sometimes have random outbursts of wham. So I'm so sorry. It's on the floor now. You shouldn't eat it. The 5-second rule doesn't actually work, but no judgments.
No judgments. Haven't you seen Osmosis Jones? Come on.
Oh my gosh, I need to re-up on my my history reading here on that. I'll watch that.
So you slap it out of her hand. And everything's fine, except the aliens now are enamored with your cooking. Okay, this is the best grilled cheese they've ever had in their lives. And they're like, Bradley, we would like you to become our personal chef, and now we are going to take you back to our planet C3PO. And they zoom off into hyperspeed, take you to the planet, and you get out of the UFO, and it's like this bustling civilization, okay? It's actually pretty cool. And Cooking Mama is there with you. And the aliens open the door, and they take you to this empty building, and they're like, Bradley, this will be your restaurant. It is called Cooking Mama C3PO. You know. And you and Cooking Mama look at each other, and you see the open door of the UFO, and you see the restaurant, and you are faced with a choice of overthrowing the aliens and escaping back, or opening Cooking Mama C3PO on the bustling city of R2-D2. Why Star Wars? What is happening? Bustling city of R2-D2 on the planet of C3PO. What choice are you making?
Okay, so far they haven't killed me. And
No.
I'm trusting them. I'm gonna go and make the trust fall. Still, I don't think I need to overthrow to get back to my way of life. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stay there, open up that restaurant, have lots of people love what we're doing, what we're all about, and then hopefully somebody, a kind soul, will be all like, you know what? I want to help you get back to Earth, or whatever it is. Get everyone on Earth back here. They'll try to help out my desire. So we're gonna go and open up that restaurant. We're gonna have on purpose a single register so that there's a long line so people think it's happening.
That's
and we're
so
gonna call
smart.
the restaurant. Yeah, we're gonna call the restaurant Cheesy One-Liners. Hey, what's up?
Oh, man. Okay. I love it. Everything works out to plan. It's great. Cheesy one-liners. Super, super successful. A kind soul alien. The president of the alien race. Eats there. Has a broccoli cheddar soup. And is really happy and says to you, Bradley, what do you want? And you're like, I want to go home. And the president takes you home, and it's happy ever after. And because time works differently, it's like only a day has passed, and everything is fine. So if this situation, you're working at Cooking Mama's restaurant, you get beamed up to UFO, you make a grilled cheese, you poison half of it, you slap the poison half out of Cooking Mama's hand, you go back to the alien planet C3PO, you open cheesy one-liners, the president comes, tastes your broccoli cheddar soup, and sends you back home. If this was a video game, what would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10?
Ooh, okay. I'm a fan of the Hobbit, or otherwise known as There and Back Again, and this feels like a There and Back Again journey, but I don't think this is as good as that classic, so I'm going to put it at a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll do an
Respectable.
average.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Grilled cheese, it's ho-hum. It's nice and respectable.
Yeah, like Diner Dash. It's giving me Diner Dash vibes. I don't know if other people played that. That was one of the video games that I like. That it's a video game for people who can't play video games. It's one of those. But those are the vibes that I'm getting. I think that's a good grade.
I have a couple follow-up questions.
Yeah.
here, though, that I've been wondering this whole time, trying to be quiet, letting the scenario play out. Why, if Bradley got abducted by a video game, would he then not be okay with just being abducted by aliens? And then 2, why did he get abducted by Cooking Mama to only learn how to make a grilled cheese sandwich? And 3, finally, where is the cheese coming from to do cheesy one-liners?
You don't want to know.
Yeah. No, I think it's fair to ask. Like, I specifically wanted to not get abducted by situations where I'd be in peril.
That is true.
So it could be that I'm like, I don't like this anymore. I wanted to cook with the mama, and then now I'm in trouble. So yeah. But good question on cheese. We're gonna have to ask, like, how do you produce your milk around here, y'all? Like, do you have cows and stuff? Yeah.
They're
good questions.
Yeah, they're sentient robot alien cows.
Maybe the cheese just grows on bushes there.
Ooh, I like
Oh,
little
yeah.
like shreds, like the packaged American cheese, you know?
Oh,
You just go to
yeah.
a tree, pluck it, you know, you have to like peel every single one of them, which is annoying.
And
but
that just makes up the
Yeah.
leaves of the trees.
yeah,
just,
that'd be so cool
just craft
though.
singles.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And on that planet, instead of we had Salt Bay there, they have Cheese Bay over there because they always just sprinkle like pick from the tree and then just like. I saw it on their like social network. Yeah, C3P Tweeto or something.
I really enjoy this. I think I would like to play this game. I'd be
It's
down
now an
for
8
it.
out of 10.
Yeah.
8 out of 10 now.
Your questions are valid, but
You
I
got the
will
lore.
say
Yeah.
Bradley is the one who said that if any Cookie Mama fans are out there and they're like, actually aliens come, Bradley spoke this into existence.
Yeah.
You know?
It is Bradley's fault. For sure. There was no peace in that restaurant
No.
when the aliens were mentioned.
This is going to weigh heavily on me.
All right, so we just created a video game, and it's out there. It's definitely out there. And honestly, I feel like it's a video game that would be given to children. You know, like it feels legit to
Yeah,
me.
the same way you would give a grilled cheese sandwich to a child.
Exactly.
You would- maybe the poison part's a little much, but you know,
It's fine.
there's got to be a little conflict in everything, right? Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So as children, we all saw video games. At least I definitely did. You did. Bradley did. Not everyone, but what is the first video game that you remember seeing?
So, trying to dig back into the deep recesses of my mind, there's lots of video game imagery, but I think the earliest that I can recall is I just remember the Game Boy, original Game Boy, just being strewn about the house, and then on the back inserted, because you can see the title of the game, of the cartridge inserted, it says Tetris on it. And that makes sense because my dad is an avid Tetris player, at least during that period of time. And, you know, like my mom also loves going to the arcade playing Frogger and Miss Pac-Man and stuff. But yeah, that Tetris game, I remember just seeing it. I'm like, ooh, it's like a magical relic thing. But yeah, that's what I saw. I can remember first.
That is so cool. You mentioned the arcade. Did your parents take you to the arcade when you were younger?
I don't. You know, we had. Let's see. There's, you know, the old Chuck E. Cheese, or going to like mini golf that also has bumper cars. And
Oh
arcade.
yes.
Those types of places, like usually if I go to the arcades when I was a kid-ish, it would be like those places where you go for its birthday party time and you're going out and then you go and hang out there. But not too much of like, let's go to the arcade, yo, like in Stranger Things or something like that. That would be cool though. That'd be cool. That's like the vibe I like, is going out to the arcade. I do like nowadays. I would love to just to go out there. Like I remember like years ago when one of my sisters was living in LA, she's like, let's go to this barcade. And I'm like, hell yeah. And let's go check it out.
Oh, barcades are the best.
Yeah,
They're so fun.
definitely the place that I like to spend my time when I decide to go into the city and do stuff fun as an adult. Like everything has some child element to it because I just want to have fun with video games, you know,
Yeah.
and a beverage.
Exactly. Yeah. Perfect.
So you saw Tetris. That was the first video game you saw. Was it also the first video game you played?
Now this, I was told. So my mom, she played Mario when she was pregnant with me, but then later she still had it and it would be available and on. And when I was, she said when I was 2, I was curious enough to I was looking, because I had learned at this point, I was looking at the screen and I was holding the controller and trying to make stuff happen. At 2 years old, playing a Super Mario Brothers game of some sort. I don't know if it was 3 or 1. I don't think it was 2, but yeah, it was either one of those games. And my mom said that my dad was getting frustrated. I was doing it all wrong, and she's like, "Hey, just let him do it." Like, I'm 2, right? So yeah, I don't remember that at all, but that's what she says that I was playing. I guess. I guess if I pressed a button down once, then I played it. There you go, bam, boop, did it.
That's incredible. At 2 years old.
And
Yeah.
the thing that really sticks out to me is that you had parents that were already playing video games. So the video games existed in your household before you existed, I'm assuming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So-
Yeah, before I existed.
Could you tell us a little bit about the history there? When did they start playing video games, as far as you know?
Oh man. So the arcade was a place that like my mom liked to go, as like she described as like socializing with friends, going out there. And they would have these like tables, like you ever see the arcade tables where it's not just vertical, but you could sit down and you can kind of look down on it and play like Pac-Man and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, the cocktail cabinets.
Yes.
Yeah, that she like said, that would be a good one to play like when you're sitting down and like going around there. So yeah, there was some gaming going on there. I don't remember besides Tetris that my dad played. I mean, he played the other Game Boy games like golf. It's just called Golf for Game Boy. But it's depicted Mario on it. But yeah, a little bit. But then like they'd be down to like play maybe like Mario Kart later in life. But yeah, there's some, gaming is not something they would be like, not for me. They'd be open to it. My dad loves chess, and so games are still like tangential there.
That makes a lot of sense. And it's funny, the thing with your dad and playing Tetris, I'm going to paraphrase this quote, but when they were deciding what to pack in the Game Boy with, it was either Super Mario Land or Tetris. And then they said, if we pack in Mario Land, we'll sell this to a bunch of kids.
Do you want to pause just for 1 second?
We gotta.
So we can wait for this and then start over.
We're doing the podcast equivalent of pulling over the side of the road and letting the sirens happen.
It is
perks of living in the city,
right? And it's not ending. There's quite a few cars.
Oh yes.
Sometimes I get seagulls near over there, like near my window, just like squawking, having a time, and I'm like, I wonder why they're either having a dance party or they're upset. I don't know.
A seagull dance
the crows
party.
are out there too. I don't know if there's a bird war going on. Crows and seagulls.
It's like West Side Story, crows versus seagulls.
Oh, that's a good idea.
They're like ballet fighting in the streets, you know.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
That's an intense battle. I don't even know who would win that one.
An upset dance party, exactly. Also, while we're paused, waiting for the sirens that are still going off, let me say hi to people. Hello, Sausage. Hello, Earth. Hello, Jenna. How are you doing? Hello, Tessa. Hello, Chess. Thank you all for chatting. It really is helpful, and I hope everybody who's lurking is having a great time. We're still getting it.
It's still going. I don't know if it's picking up or not, but we should probably still wait it out.
Yeah, let's just wait.
Gengar.
Oh my God, Gengar! Wait,
is that a Gengar stress ball?
No, it's like some kind of, I don't know. It's a blind box. I don't know. It's not a pencil topper, but I can stick my finger.
It's a finger puppet.
It's a finger
amazing.
puppet.
Yeah.
I'd like to see.
No time for questions with Gengar. Oh, is the siren sound? Okay.
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
I think we might.
It just stopped.
It just stopped?
All right.
Okay, cool. Resume. Right. Lots of editing to be done.
So I'm going to paraphrase. Oh, you were still laughing.
I was. There you go.
And action. All right. So I'm going to paraphrase this quote a little bit. But when they were trying to sell the Game Boy and they were deciding what to put in, they were between Tetris and Mario. And Mario was the front runner at first. And Nintendo of America was like, no, you should put Tetris in the box, because if you put Mario in the box, you'll sell it to all the kids. But if you put Tetris in the box, you'll sell it to everybody. And there was a huge attachment from adults because Tetris came with it. Tetris was such a good game at the time that just anybody that had like the puzzle mind wanted to play it. It's the same way that like Candy Crush blew up on cell phones because everybody could play it just for free.
Candy Crush. Oh, man.
Did you play Candy Crush?
I did play Candy Crush.
That doesn't surprise me too much.
That was so fun. Oh, that was a good time.
I kind of purposely didn't get into Candy Crush, but I also didn't have a smartphone.
Yeah. Or Temple Run. Did you all play Temple Run?
I did not. No.
What?
Not Temple Run on my end. No. Candy Crush. a little just to see what the hubbub was about. Yeah.
That was something where in school people would play Temple Run on their phones under their desk.
Oh, Temple. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I heard Tumble Run. Yes, Temple Run. I remember that. You'd be running and then you have to go left or right or jump
or swipe
whatever.
up.
Yeah.
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 Good times.
The endless runner category of genre or whatever. Endless runners.
I always wondered what would happen if you won, but I didn't know anyone who did it.
I don't know if you can win it. It's part of the endless running.
But there must be an end, though.
Well,
There has to be.
look, Indiana Jones can run away from that boulder for an eternity. That's it. It's purgatory.
That's awful.
You never get the treasure.
I never
because
wanna play
you
that
shouldn't
ever again.
You shouldn't steal from the temple, you know?
That's the point of the game. They're not trying to. We don't know what happened in the temple. We don't know the context of Temple Run.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to find out what happens in the end so that you know
Right.
if it mattered or not.
Which is a whole different kind of purgatory.
The real question is how much money did you spend on the game?
None.
Well, there you go. You
Yeah.
won.
I won.
The winner is you. You didn't spend any money.
Nice. You're right. You're right. But
Spend your money as you wish, everyone.
yeah.
You just don't spend too much, then you can. That's the message.
It's a good message.
It is. So video games were in your family. I'm assuming you grew up with a number of different consoles. So what consoles did you grow up with?
Oh boy, it was like Nintendo household time. It was okay. So NES, SNES, then the N64. You know where this is going.
Oh, yeah.
GameCube. GameCube there. By the time I got so 2006 is when I graduated high school, and then also in the fall went to college. Wii came out that November, and I bought myself a Wii. I remember standing. It was the only ever time I've done this, but standing outside overnight in line to get a Wii. And that was a nice time. But we did have a Sega Genesis for a hot second growing up, and that was good because we had Sonic 2, and that's a great game. And also handhelds along the way. So we had the Game Boy, Game Boy Color. I still have the Game Boy Color, like right down here. Yeah. Bam, still got it.
Ooh, the yellow one.
Yeah, the yellow right there.
Nice.
Got Pokemon Red in there. Dear listener, I'm holding up Pokemon Yellow with red in it. But and then a Game Boy Advance is what I got for. So 5th grade, I was not doing so well in history class because I didn't really care for history, and I don't recommend doing that, everyone. But my parents were all like, "Man, how do we get like our son yoked for history?" I know. After 5th grade happens for summer, we're gonna drive across the country and then drive back the whole 3 months. And we're going to show him all the landmarks along the way, like Mount Rushmore and Statue of Liberty, to see if he gets excited. But it's going to be a boring car drive ride. So for your birthday, Brad, we're going to go and get you a Game Boy Advance with whatever game you want. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And I got Castlevania Circle of the Moon for Game Boy Advance.
Ooh, yeah.
That is... I love oh man, just the incentivizing. It's so cool because we're gonna take you on this historical road trip, but also we understand that you're gonna be bored, so here's a video game system.
So the question I have with that game, so if people aren't familiar with Castlevania Circle of the Moon, it was an incredibly dark game, and when you played it on the original Game Boy Advance, there was no backlight. So How was that playing on a car ride, Circle of the Moon? Was it benefits that it was dark?
It's like you also wish for the Circle of the Moon to come out because that's when you get more brightness at the dark time, right? Because here's some core memories for all of y'all. If you remember growing up with no backlight screens on your mobile handheld Game Boys, is that if you're in the back of the car and you're pulling up to the street light, it's red, but then the sidewalk lights are on, and you have that few number of seconds to tilt your Game Boy screen towards the lamplight, and you get this sweet, bright, like illumination of your screen, and that was chef kiss. It works very well for Pokemon because all you have to do is just wait till the next time you get a light source or whatever, because it's turn-based and anything. But not so much with like Super Mario Land, because you're all like trying to jump and now you lose your light. You're like, we're. So yes, the no backlight meant a lot of time in armchairs, tilting your screen towards the lamp right next to it. And so when the backlight came out with the Game Boy Advance SP and forward, it was a godsend. Especially if y'all remember, I don't know if you played Crystal Chronicles for GameCube or Zelda Four Swords Adventures. They had the Game Boy Advance to GameCube link, and everyone can have their private screen, which was like a phenomenon for that time. Everyone can do switches now, but so it was like if you didn't have the backlight screen, you're just like everyone's trying to tilt towards the light source. But now that the SP came out, you can totally just like sit comfortably. Anyway,
I completely relate to a lot of those experiences. I get motion sick in the car, so when I was really young, I would try to play like Super Mario Land. I can really vividly remember playing Super Mario Land in the car and just like trying to work out the screen, trying to like, okay, now it's a little too dark or the sun is too bright and it's reflecting off, so I have to pause the game, wait, look up, but I'm getting like motion sick. But Pokemon was the only game that I could play in the car because you don't really have to pay attention to Pokemon. You just kind of... you wait for your turn, and then you're like, okay, I can't see, so we're just going to hang out here. Or if you're really desperate, you put it really close to your eyes so you could see it. Good stuff. And then the Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. I came to that a little bit later in life when I was in high school. We, for some reason, were just like, we didn't really get to have this experience. So my one friend went out, and he bought 4 of the adapters. And then we brought our Game Boy Advances, and it was such a good experience, and I was so disappointed when they re-released it, and the online thing is just each level you have to connect, and it's not a persistent thing. So, but that world that you could build together was such an awesome experience, and it's one that like I crave to have again.
Mm-hmm. Another thing with this no backlight experience, you reminded me of holding it. You said holding it close to your face sometimes. I remember a doctor telling my parents when I was in 6th grade, because that's when I first got my glasses. They were like, "Your son doing this real close is what causes this as well." So you should, and it's like if you grew up with the backlight screen, you don't do this as much. So I wonder how that impacted people around my generation of playing games a lot, but holding it close to their face because there's no backlight.
I mean, I have perfect vision still.
No. Oh, okay. All right, hear that, Doc?
I feel I know that that they're doctors and whatever, and they should know, but I feel like that's still somewhat of a myth.
Okay, all right.
But I don't know. Because I definitely did that all the time. I played Pokemon so much on the Game Boy, and before I got for my Game Boy Color, I got the matching atomic purple thing where it's a cobra light. So it like literally looks like a cobra, and it shoots a light up into this mirror at the top, and then it beamed down onto the screen. So then I could see things, and then I would stay up really late at night trying. The light was off in my room, so it looked like I was sleeping, but no, I was playing Pokemon.
Oh my gosh. I did the same thing and had the same accessory. Amazing.
Oh, you had the Cobra
I had
light?
It, the purple little thing, and you can like kind of bend it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Those were some times.
It was such a weird accessory, but I absolutely loved it.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking a lot about different consoles and different console experiences. What console were you the most excited to get?
Ooh, my gosh. Okay, let's see. I think I remember because it was more of a surprise. It was so the GameCube came out, but it was like always whenever there's like consoles or games or whatever, it was always like a birthday thing and a Christmas thing where it's like you get like $50 for whatever you want. But if there's a console that came out, my parents, for some, I guess because they're they appreciated games too. I guess they wanted to make sure the kids had a console with each generation. But the GameCube came out around November, Thanksgiving time, instead of in Christmas time. And we never expect that there's going to be a console, but we were older enough to remember this thing where I remember my dad was all like, "Hey, it's Thanksgiving. Here's an early Christmas present for y'all, GameCube with Luigi's Mansion." And I was like, "What?"
Oh, so
was
good.
Yeah, it was just like 1 month early than we might hope to cross our fingers to maybe get a GameCube, and then it was just there already. He already went out of his way to go get it, and he didn't tell us about it, and then it was just like, surprise. Now let's eat some turkey. I don't know. So that really built up the excitement, I think. Just the surprise fact, the affectionate or endearing or whatever part of it.
That's so awesome because that's also the system that I have that same experience with. But for what happened was they sent this like promotional thing in the mail. It was shaped the same size as the GameCube. It had the disc slid into the little slot, and if you put it into your computer, there were trailers. And when you would play those trailers on my computer, the sound didn't work. So I was watching the Luigi's Mansion trailer over and over again, and I then turned on the Ghostbusters theme, and I was watching it over and over again to the Ghostbusters thing, and I was like, Mom, come in here, check this out. And then
making AMVs already. Animated music videos.
Exactly.
They call them edits nowadays, but yeah.
So for me, I wanted that system since the moment that I got that in the mail. And my brother got the PlayStation 2 for his birthday, which was in the summer. And I knew the GameCube was coming out. And when it came out in November, I was like, I wish I could have this. But I asked for it for Christmas. It showed up on Christmas. I got Luigi's Mansion, played the crap out of that, and then the next day, on Boxing Day, I went to, I forget what store. It was probably a Target, and I picked up Super Smash Bros. Melee. That was the system that was mine, the first one that was mine, and I absolutely loved it and probably had about like 40 games for it because I would mow my grandmother's lawn, and every time I'd mow the lawn, I would compile that money together, and then I would go out and buy another game.
Now that's a reason to watch grass grow and be like, I want to cut that. I want to get that money again. Oh, that's great.
And what's so cool is you two share a birthday, and it's the end of June. So the birthday and Christmas thing, you get like 2 different opportunities
it's
for
the
new
perfect
things.
birthday.
It's so good.
I never felt like I didn't have gifts.
It's always like I always describe. Someone asked me why, like when I was younger. I don't know. Let's say I was like 10 or something. It's like, why do you like your birthday or whatever it is? I like to describe it as it's the last day of the first half of the year. Isn't that cool? You can just say that. Last day of the first half. And so, yeah. And yeah, so it's like 6 months. Every 6 months, it's all like, ooh, it's a little present time. growing up. Nowadays, it's like, I just buy what I want.
Right.
Spending time with people, or if they really want to go out of their way to, it's always lovely. It's about the thought now. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually never thought about it being the first day of the last day of the first half of the year. The thing that as an adult, I always thought it would be fun to throw a half Christmas party, but I don't do it because it would conflict with throwing my own birthday party. So I just have to live with this fantasy in my brain of throwing half Christmas parties because I think it would just be hilarious to do like the whole festive thing in summer.
Yeah.
Even though in some parts of the world it is that way.
Yeah.
Do you like any other holidays that maybe you can do that? Like my favorite holiday is Halloween, and you can have maybe half Halloween.
So I have thought about that too.
Yeah.
But it's not as clean as a date in my brain because it's 6 months and it's 5 days before my birthday. So I'm like, yeah, that's when this is. But I haven't thought about doing it hard enough where I've like, okay, which thing is half Halloween? But maybe this year. This year.
Oh, if you've seen Gravity Falls, then you know that there's a Summerween thing in that, and then they say it's like June 21st in that one. But shout out to Summerween, Gravity Falls peeps out there. It's a Disney show. It's really good.
Oh, I've never seen it, but I know that I've heard of it.
I've seen a little bit of it. It's fantastic. I believe one of the writers for the show is one of the creators of Homestar Runner, but I could be wrong about that.
Yeah.
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 So it sounds like you played a lot of different video games. I feel like you have a pretty good base, extensive knowledge. Is there one video game that you wish you had played when you were younger that you weren't able to?
Yeah. So so there's a lot that I missed out on just because the household was Nintendo for some reason mostly. Yeah, so all the like sweet PlayStation stuff I missed out on, Spyro, Crash Bandicoot, whatever it is that was also on there. Final Fantasy, specifically the Final Fantasy. I do like JRPG stuff, but I only got my hits of that of like off JRPG stuff on the Nintendo. Oddly enough, the game that I would pick is already on Super Nintendo. I just never got it growing up, and it would be Chrono Trigger. I didn't play it growing up. I have never beaten it. I have played halfway through it. I have it for DS, and I do want to go and play it to completion someday. But I think if I grew up with it, it might have been a very formative game for me of like, yeah, this is one of the chef kiss stuff.
Yeah, that's another one that I didn't play at the time. We did have Super Nintendo. My brother wasn't very into RPGs outside of Pokemon. So the Chrono Trigger was one of those things that I always heard about and I've always wanted to play, and I've always avoided trying to watch any gameplay of it because people are like, no, this is the best RPG of all time. And in my head, I'm always like, I'm going to stream this game one day. And then I still haven't done it.
It could happen.
It's like sometimes you want to, like, I haven't played Zelda Breath of the Wild, but I know I'll love it. And it's for some reason, you like the ones that are like the pinnacle game, like for some reason, I'm like, I want to wait till it feels right and stuff. But that's a trap, I think. I think you just got to get out of your system.
I want you to play Breath of the Wild. It will feel right.
I will, yeah. And Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley. I grew up with Harvest Moon as well. So I know I will love Stardew Valley. I bought it twice because I've waited so long. I got it for PlayStation 4. Then it came out for Switch, and I was like, I probably want to play it when I'm in bed and stuff. So I bought it for Switch, and then I'm going like, all right, no more buying Stardew Valley ports. And then finally play it someday.
2 is enough.
Yeah. I've done this so many times, buying ports of games that I intend on playing. I'm like, these look great. Axiom Verge is the one that sticks out in my head. I bought that multiple times. It's a Metroid love letter to Metroid, basically. But I was thinking about you saying you don't know why your household was a Nintendo household.
I was also wondering this.
But the thing is, I have a theory about it. You are from the Washington area, so Nintendo of America's headquarters is in Washington. Or were you not actually from Washington and I'm totally wrong?
No, this is a good theory. I mean, I was from the same coast. I moved in 2020 from California, which is in just 2 states down. Still all radical and whatever, those West Coasters do. I don't know. But I moved up. So I spent like 30 plus years in California, then moved up to Washington. But you're right about what you're going with here.
Okay.
Yeah. Nintendo. Yeah. Nintendo of America is there. Yeah, totally. So maybe something's up with that.
Yeah, I think probably the marketing force is a little bit stronger on the West Coast than it is, let's say, in the middle of the country. Or the East Coast has at least the Nintendo New York, which is really cool. But I don't know if it's the same like push that it would be on the West Coast because, Washington being right there, they literally owned the Mariners for a while. So that's like completely embedded in like the Seattle area's ecosystem.
Yeah, like the tropish, like, oh, my uncle works at Nintendo is more likely to happen Because they live there, right? They're
Right.
just down the street from Nintendo of America. Yeah.
That was
So they're more like, it's like, hey, what are you playing there, nephew? And I'm all like, not PlayStation. Like, that's right.
Get that
Or, sorry,
PlayStation out
not
of this
PlayStation.
house.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
that was my
Yeah, in your
follow-up question.
Dreamcast.
Was did your uncle work at Nintendo?
I don't know of any uncles that I have that worked at Nintendo, but
Damn.
who knows if there were some half uncle out there that was like, you know what, I'm gonna market this out to my half nephew in California. His parents are probably gonna get an NES. Yeah.
So we've talked about a bunch of different games and series. I'm wondering what are your top 3 favorite games or series, if you
Oh
can
my
limit
gosh.
it that much.
Yeah, that's tough, right? It's like choosing, I don't know, bands or movies, but I've decided to go with this approach here. I think I'll go with one per the consoles I had, like kind of growing up before Wii came along.
Oh.
So I guess with Super Nintendo, actually I have a little visual. Listeners, I'm holding up a physical
Yes.
copy of Super Mario RPG.
Oh my god, it's beautiful.
Legend of the Seven Stars.
Whoa.
With the
They
dust
just announced the
protector.
and with the little gotta protect it. Yeah, although I don't. The Super Mario RPG, that was okay. So I didn't have Chrono Trigger, didn't have Final Fantasies and all that. I had this, and this is so good. I'm so excited for the remaster coming out. So that is one. So the second one, N64, I have chosen Ogre Battle 64. This is a little more obscure. I don't know if either of you heard it.
I've
I
heard
have
of
not.
it. I have not played it myself. I know that there is a cult following behind that game, and I'm interested to hear your thoughts of why Ogre Battle 64 over everything else.
Yeah, let's join my cult.
I'm ready. Nintendo Ogre Battle
Yeah.
64. Got it.
Right. Yeah, I don't think I have to argue much for Super Mario, especially since it's getting a remaster, and people keep saying put Gino in Smash. But Ogre Battle 64, it's if you like tactics games of like real-time strategy where you like deploy out like StarCraft style, but you can pause at any time, so it's not as stressful to the deployment. But then when you fight in battle, like instead of it being one like a party of characters, you have a bunch of units of characters, so it's sort of like on the militia level, but it's all like fantasy, like medieval fantasy stuff. There's dragons and stuff like that, and it's a real deeper RPG stuff, but with little like unique mechanics going on about it. I put like I would see like 60 hours or so is what I would put into these. And so that's my pitch. But I grew up with it, so I am biased. So I don't know. I do want to go and stream it sometime. I did get my N64, the family N64 back, so I do want to stream it sometime. And we'll see how it holds up.
Yeah, I mean, I know the addiction to the RTSs. I did not play that one. I wonder how the console version instead of mouse and keyboard feels these days.
Yeah, feels good. And then for the third one, for GameCube, Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2, which actually came out for Dreamcast, but I didn't have a Dreamcast, and was online only, I think. But GameCube did have the online adapter, but this was available to play offline. And I only played it offline. And my most fun part of playing that, you can play 4-player local multiplayer. So one day we had 7 people in my home, and we had 2 CRT TVs, big old bulky TVs, 2 GameCubes, and we just played Phantasy Star Online next to each other. And we're all like hacking and slack because it's an RPG in a world. It's in space-like, and yeah, it was a great time. There's a lot of grinding and boss fighting and picking up rare drops and stuff like that.
It's honestly the dream for me. That's the ultimate hangout is the LAN party. Like just being able to get so many people in the same room trying to work towards like the same goal, or playing a multiplayer game like Halo or something like that. That is such a fun experience to me.
Yeah, put on that music and and enjoy whatever food and drinks and stuff, and just vibe with the local couch multiplayer. Mario Kart, very popular one to do that with, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's what pushes those games forward. That and like all of the parties and the sports games as well. Those are just awesome couch co-op stuff.
You've mentioned video games being kind of a social thing, both in your family and then with friends. And it is very clear that throughout your life, they have just been a huge, like, part of it. And I know also that you do card games and everything, like tabletop and D&D and all sorts of stuff. How do you think that video games and gaming culture in general have shaped you into the person that you are today?
Whoa, let's go deep. Like analyzing myself. All right, let's see.
Give us the Brad report.
The Brad report. I think so. We all want to, like, we're social creatures. I mean, for the most part, you know, some of you out there don't want to socialize. That's cool. But we just need things to do with each other to pass the time. We're like deep inside, we want to hang out with each other, but we need a facilitating thing to go with it. And it's really fun because we're also problem-solving creatures too. So it's really nice to have some kind of game thing going on that we all can bond over as well, and not just sit there going like, "Man, I love being around you." You too. So I feel like games just really gifted me the ability to get socializing happening without it being weird. It's all like, do you want to play games? Yes, I love playing games. Great. And on the inside, I really was like, I think you're cool and I want to hang out with you. So just saying you want to play games is just a way to make that happen. So I think maybe how it shaped me was just like, it made it a little easier to suggest that. Although there are some games where I'm all like, go away, I have to play 60 hours of this RPG. Definitely that is also a double-edged sword, I guess. And I have done that. Just shut myself in my room in the high school and just played a ton of games.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with that. Like the perfect facilitator of any hangout with new people that you know that you're going to get along with. It's like, hey, you want to come over and play a board game?
Yes.
And you're just like, you're feeling the personalities of the people that you're hanging out with through this board game, through coming up with strategy, seeing some people get angry and you're like, oh, okay, we don't push buttons with them. Or yeah, just playing a video game. It's usually better to start with lower stakes video games when it comes to that. But like, I feel like board games are even stronger in that regard because I feel like there's less anger that comes with it because there's not the learning curve of trying to understand what it is to play a video game or like, how do I play this video game? And someone being too good or whatever. I feel like board games are really good at like evening the playing field unless somebody plays a game way too much.
Yeah. Or
yeah, you definitely got to pick the right board game for your audience, right? It's all like, hold on, everybody. I've got this big old 20-page booklet, and I'm going to teach you all. It's like, dude, we're looking forward to like Scrabble or something. And that's actually the level. Like when I go visit my dad, that's like we bust out the Scrabble and stuff. So, but yeah, match the people's vibes with your board game pick. Yeah,
board game is just like social lubricant. I feel like it's just if it's awkward, you just slap a board game on the table and you're good to go, you know?
Yeah. I think like it starts with Uno. Uno is the easiest to play with people.
Uno is so fun and everybody has different rules and I love it.
And then the one that we like to bust out. Are you familiar with a game called Blockus?
Oh my gosh, core memory unlocked.
Good.
I love Blockus.
Blockus is so good.
Yeah. All right, Blockus night right now. Got a webcam going on down here.
Right.
No, but yeah, yes, Blockus. I am familiar.
It's such a great game because people, like, when you initially see it, you don't really understand what's happening, but you're like, there's only one rule. You just got to get your pieces down, and they have to attach from the corners. And then every time we played Blockus with somebody, we get to the end of the game, and if they didn't win, they're like, we're playing again, right?
Yeah.
because they're like, I'm gonna take all of the strategy I just learned and see if I can beat you now.
That's great. It's always like I think I follow like board game design, like social media peeps, and one of the pieces of advice is if the game leaves you with that felt too short, or that's a good sign, because it's like I wanted more, so I want to play again. So if anyone ever says, "Are we going to play again?" then you got a good one. Or if they say it felt too short, keep that in mind. That might be like, I want to play again.
Yeah,
I love
that's brilliant.
Board game analyzing. It's good. Since games have been such a social experience for you, is there someone who stands out who has been your partner in gaming or your biggest presence in your gaming history?
So I have friends since high school, and like luckily, like, 'cause this doesn't always be the case, because high school is a time when you just happen to be around other people who lived in the same zip code or whatever, so it's just a roll of the dice who you make friends with or whatever, and then you just move on and you find people with the same interests. But I am lucky enough that the these friends are also gamers, and I would be able to go and talk about games at any games at all. It's always an interesting conversation. So I would say high school best friends are the ones who I had spent the most time with, just talking about whatever it is I was passionate about. I'd be like, oh man, let me tell you about Ogre Battle 64. Yeah.
And that's when you're like, all right, we're going to be here for a while.
I just played 60 hours of this game. Let me pull out my PowerPoint presentation,
It's funny you mentioned PowerPoint presentation. There was one time when WoW Classic was coming out. I didn't play WoW myself, but I have two friends that played WoW like religiously. And we were supposed to meet up at his house so that he could show us this PowerPoint presentation and like try to describe to us why we should play with him and then what we should do once we're playing. We had like a huge group of people that were supposed to come, and then it ended up being me and Alicia.
I remember this.
Oh.
I always forget this until you bring it up.
Oh.
It was so long, and the slides were just text. It was that kind of PowerPoint presentation where he didn't put any effort into it. It was just text and then maybe some images. It was this is why I always forget about it.
It's a good memory for me because I thought it was hilarious and it was great.
Yeah,
it was quite fun. Yeah.
Sometimes the tough times you get through or whatever, that's what bonds you even more.
Yeah. So I feel like when you play games with other people, you learn so much better, and that's something I've experienced with Matt. Is just having him here. He has taught me so many things about games, which has felt really rewarding. And there's always, especially when you're struggling with something, it feels so good to finish it. So what is your most rewarding gaming experience?
Whoa. Most rewarding of all. Gosh. Let's see. Let's think through it. Most rewarding gaming, like anything that felt like it was worth the time I put into it, right? Not even like I don't have to have beaten the game, right? Okay. Video game or non-video game?
Whatever you...
Yeah,
okay.
interpret the
Magic
question.
the Gathering. Magic the Gathering.
Oh.
Magic the Gathering got me so much. Okay, so Pokemon started everything. I blame them, but they had an anime, a card game, and a video game, right? And all those three things I like now. And Pokemon's card game was like, I like card games. And then Magic was in the card shop, and I was all like, what's that fantasy looking creature? And then I started Magic the Gathering when it was like over 20 years ago. And I kept up with Magic And, I did go and stop playing Magic for a number of years, like couple times. But I would just get right back into it. Like in high school, I stopped Magic only to play a different card game with Marvel in it. Not Marvel Snap, although I'm playing that nowadays, y'all.
But you talking about the Versus system?
Yes, the Versus system. Yeah,
I played a little bit of that.
Yes, exactly. And then, I got back into Magic in college. And then more recently, I got back into Magic to be like, I'm going to be more serious about this, because one of the things when I was a kid, I was like, I either want to work for Nintendo or work for the people who make Magic. And then so for the Magic part, I actually got to final interviews to work at Wizards of the Coast that makes Magic and D&D.
Wow.
And I was in the top 6 of over 1,000 applicants for this role.
Whoa.
Which the hiring manager told me afterwards, like, yeah, you were in the top 6. And said that, like, if we had an open role for you, there's only one role, and there's 6 qualified people, and you're one of them, we would have given you the role. But it was a literal roll of the D6, and I didn't get it. I didn't roll the 6, and so that was back in 2019, and when I was like 2 years into like, let me get back into Magic and network with other Magic-minded peeps. And Magic design is like my like thing I was before this whole streamer Bradley video game me that started in 2023. And yeah, I kept going for a number of years before I eventually like burnt out on the whole Magic thing. But Magic gave me a lot. It gave me a lot of experiences. I traveled a lot and got lots of networking and almost a job. And yeah.
That's awesome. Is that still the goal, Magic or Nintendo?
The Pokemon Company is also up here.
Oh, okay. Pokemon Company.
And obviously, listener, there's a life-size plush of Psyduck and a life-size plush of Sprigatito flanking my sides. They're my counsel.
It's pretty good.
They're here to back me up. But I think Pokemon is more of like, I think I can depend on them as a brand more, and they bring more smiles, whereas Magic and DD are also awesome. It's also would be great for either one, or Nintendo as well. But I would say Pokemon just beats out just on a lot of different fronts there of like, it's going to be magical to see the Pokemon brand and be like, hey, I'm a part of that. But I don't know. It's less of a thing I'm working for nowadays. Like, I'm comfortable with my work and I like streaming. So it's just like, that's, yeah. But if Pokemon was all like, Brad, come here, and I'd be like, I'm coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up Pokemon, because I've been trying to figure out how we come back to this. So I know that Pokemon's a really big thing for you, and you do Nuzlocks. You're partially what inspired me to do the Heart Gold Nuzlocke that I did. The thing that I want to know is, do you remember the first time you saw Pokemon? Because that's a very vivid memory for me.
Oh my gosh. Let's see. I remember, I don't know if it was this. So I subscribed to Nintendo Power, and sometimes you would get VHS tapes of promotional stuff. And there was one VHS tape that was all like, you put it in and it'd be like, it's like, hey, check out Pokemon. It's like, what's that? And we're all 90s about it and stuff. But it might have been that VHS tape or just watching the anime. Either of those two. What's your vivid memory?
So for me, I was a big fan of Ninja Turtles growing up because of my older brother. And I was over at a friend's house, and he had an older brother that was the same age as my brother. And I see him bringing this box with this turtle on it, with 2 big cannons on his back. And I'm like, what is this thing? And he pops the game like into the Game Boy, and me and my friend, we're like huddling around him. And he is going through the beginning of the game, because he literally just started this game. And he picks Squirtle. And I'm like, holy crap, you can get a little turtle that you can train. And I just see all the stuff that he's doing at the beginning of this game, and I'm like, I absolutely have to have this. This is a thing that this is going to be my thing now. Like I can't get a turtle in real life because my parents refuse. But this is even better. You know, I don't have to take care of it. I just play with it, and that's what started Pokemon, the like craze for me. And then it was the anime being on TV and all of the kids on the block getting Pokemon cards, or also, you know, the Pokemon game. And it didn't matter how old you were, like we would meet up on people's porches and play Pokemon cards. And I can still remember the very vivid smell of opening up a base set Pokemon card pack. Ooh. It's such, I don't know if they add that smell or if it's just the smell of the stock of the paper, but holy crap, it's so good.
It's a little spray, and in the factory, they're like, okay, add the smell.
This will get the kids addicted.
It's like child's catnip, you know?
Yeah. Does that mean Pokemon Blue was your first Pokemon game?
Yeah, so Pokemon Blue was my first Pokemon game. The funny thing about it, though, is like I got it I'm going to have to look into the dates with this, and I can probably pinpoint when I actually ended up getting it. But when I got it, I started it, and I played a little bit. But my brother then, because the craze was happening, he was like, oh, no, let me take this. I'm going to play this. So he played the game first. And he beat the game, and he was trying to catch all the Pokemon. Well, the friend that I mentioned earlier had a sleepover this one time. And he did have all 150 Pokemon because he had red and blue. And it was all sitting on this one game cartridge. And my brother's friend, Team Rocket style, took his Game Boy, took our Game Boy and the other friend's Game Boy into the bathroom and traded all of the Pokemon into those games so that the Pokédex could be filled up.
Oh my god.
While the other friend was sleeping.
Wow.
So I remember my brother getting back from that sleepover and telling me the story and showing me the Pokédex. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. Like, look at all these Pokemon. And then after that, he stopped playing that, but he was very into the Pokemon cards. And later on, we picked up again around 2005 to 2007. I went to Worlds. Not a big deal.
It's not a big deal. It's fine. I'm just a Michigan State champ, you know?
Yeah, I went undefeated on that day. Anyway.
He's doing an air hair flip, you know?
I tried to brush dirt off my shoulder, but I forgot you can't see the shoulder, so then I just went like...
Oh.
He appreciated it. Yeah. We got the style from it. So Pokemon Blue was my first one as well, but not... It was like my second choice because I remember I was turning 10 and I was like, oh yeah, same as protagonist, yeah. And I was like, for my birthday, I was asked what I wanted, and I was like, I wanted Pokemon. They're like, okay, and I'm like, let me explain to you though, Dad, because he's gonna come back from work and stop by the store and get it. And I'm like, if there's a red and a blue, I would like red, but if there's no red, I would not like you to come be like, sorry, there's no red, there's no Pokemon. If there's no red, go get blue, and that would make me very happy. Instead of like getting no Pokemon, it's like, sorry, you wanted Pokemon for your birthday, but there's no red. But so there was no red, and then he came home with blue, and I was like, oh sweet, I got Pokemon. So that was my first one, but it could have been a red. It was the fates that said blue.
So we have the obvious answer of what my starter was, since I was inspired by Squirtle. What was your first starter?
I believe it was Charmander, because I growing up, I'm a big old fan of dragons. My first online handle, okay, besides Brad Sharkey, when I was like in grade, like really young, because I like sharks and stuff, and was Burnworm. Actually, it's still my DeviantArt name. Hey, shout out DeviantArtists. Okay. But Burnworm, but with like. But spelled all like stylish, like BYRNWYRM, and worm. I felt so cool for knowing that worm is like a synonym for dragon. And I was like, yeah, and it kind of rhymes. So yeah, I was a Charmander picking it, and I was born in the year of the dragon, so I was like, dragons are
Ooh.
me, yeah. Yeah. So that was my first.
That's awesome.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Did you know that you were going to be able to pick through all three of the starters, or were you worried that you weren't be able to pick Charmander because you didn't get red?
I think by the time I had gotten it, I already knew what was up. I remember distinctly Nintendo Power having a poster even of all three that you can get, which apparently is that specific issue. Every issue came with a poster, and that poster was like the one that Ash had in his room.
Oh,
So
cool.
in episode 1 that you could see, and I think I've seen the anime already of all like Professor Oak going all like, new trainers can start with a Bulbasaur, Squirtle, or Charmander. I'm all like, thank you, Oak. All right. And I'm,
Good to
I'm
know.
writing this down on an invisible notepad. But yeah, I already knew. I already knew the jig was up. I was like, okay, I can pick them. And eventually, we did get multiple Pokemon cartridges among us, so we were able to do the whole like, let's put all three on one cartridge and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I could talk for so long about just the Pokemon part of this.
Yeah.
So you have streamed quite a bit of Pokemon on your channel. You had the Yellow, you had Let's Go, now you're doing Crystal. But we found you when you were doing Odyssey, which was so fun.
It honestly was such a interesting just time of happenstance.
It was very random.
because we weren't even playing Odyssey at the time.
No.
She had finished Odyssey, I think maybe like the week before, and she was just going through and saw you in there, and I don't even think you had your webcam at the time.
Yeah.
And you were in the desert world, and you were by like the Moai heads where you had walked around, and it would show the
Yeah.
the blocks in front of you, and then you would walk fast and they'd disappear again. And I just remember getting into that raid and just being like, I really like this guy's vibe.
Yeah.
He seems really, really nice. And then I think we noticed you again when you were doing the yellow Nuzlocke.
Yeah.
I think that's when I started watching a lot more because I was like, holy crap, this is awesome.
Yes,
Yeah.
finally the plan. Wow, that's awesome to know. I mean, it also a happenstance of like, this year I was like, okay, I'm done with Magic's on hold. I have a big video game backlog because of Magic. I would spend so much time not playing my video games, and I was like, well, as I'm gonna get started with streaming, I don't have my webcam yet, but always that's an advice is just each session or whatever, each week or whatever, how much time you have, you keep improving over time. But so I knew that Odyssey I've never played, but I was like, let's finally play Odyssey, and then randomly you appeared, and I'm like, cool, yeah. And little did I know I would be invited onto your podcast. Much times later. So yeah, I wasn't even trying to be like Mario Odyssey was my thing or anything. It was just a random game in my backlog. Yeah, so real glad to the random happenstance. Hold on to the good things you randomly encounter, and random bad things will happen, but you'll get past it, hopefully, as best as you can. So,
I feel like we got a shiny Bradley with full odds on that one.
Wait, what is? I wonder what the non-shiny version of me would look like. It'd be like the non-shiny is blonde.
Yeah.
Reverse
Short
Super
hair.
Saiyan style. Yeah. Ooh, short hair. Yeah. I did only grow this hair out because of the pandemic. I was always like short-haired guy. So, but you only knew me as this version.
That's
so
true.
I guess.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could imagine no other way.
Someday I might cut it, but I keep going, nah. But yeah, who knows? We'll see.
So you decided to start streaming recently, but when was the first time you learned about streaming?
Whoa, my gosh. When did I first learn about streaming? Maybe I feel like this would be all the way back in like maybe college years, World of Warcraft. I never played World of Warcraft myself, except one time when my dorm mate was going to the bathroom and he happened to be having a flying mount on screen, and I was like, "That looks cool." And I'm like, "Hey, can I fly around as your thing while you conquer the darkness?" uh, I didn't time travel and say that, but and then he said yeah, and I was like, ooh, a flying mount thing, cool. But yeah, I feel like maybe around that time, I don't know how long Twitch is around and stuff, or the concept of it, but maybe. But then again, LAN parties were happening in my dorm as well. So I don't know. Maybe around. Let's see. Wow, how long is college ago? Jeez.
It's scary to think about.
10 years ago. Let's just throw that number. 10 years ago. Yeah.
Awesome. So you learned about it through World of Warcraft 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And then 10 years later, you decided to stream. What was the first game that you streamed? Was it Odyssey?
Oh my gosh. No, it wouldn't be Odyssey. My first game. I should know this answer. What is the first game? Oh, wait. Okay, all right, hold on. There was a tease of a stream before. So this year was all like, let's get cereal, everybody, right? But I did do stream like two or three times just to try it out, like 6 years ago or so, and maybe we can go off of that. I remember the first thing I remember I was trying out. It's either Super Mario Brothers, right? Like, doing blindfolded stuff, which I've done again as a anniversary thing. I don't know. As this year I did that again, or it was Hearthstone, a card game, because I'm a card gamer, and Hearthstone. I remember clipping. I did some real sick damage to someone. You know, like, let me clip that. I did a huge fireball in Hearthstone. So yeah, I think it was that. Let's go with that. Let's go with Hearthstone. Yeah.
Nice. So it's interesting to know that you did do some test ones 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Why did you not continue that?
Because you got to try things sometimes to see if you are into it. And I tried it out. I was like, all right, let's try Hearthstone, Mario, Smash Brothers, and try those things. And then it was like, then I wasn't really into it after. I did also try starting To the Moon, an indie game, and then I remember I wanted to finish that. But anyway, so I was like, I wasn't feeling it at the time. But then this year it was like, okay, I'm much more comfortable now spending time indoors and playing games on my screen, and I feel like there's a purpose now. I have a games backlog. I want to play through them, and it would be a lot of fun, I think, if there were people that I just threw it on to a stream and interact with people if they wanted to go and watch me play as well. So that's what really stuck for me. I guess I had a greater purpose to my streaming, whereas before it was just like streaming for the sake of streaming. Now this time it's like, let's play games that I wanted to play.
That's awesome. I love the learning experience through that. I think that's really cool, and just having that different mission. What is something that you have learned throughout this latest streaming venture from when you started until now?
Oh man, so I think I feel a lot more relaxed when I'm streaming now, but it can get tricky later as time goes on, because when I first started, in my head I was like, I am magic design enthusiast Bradley. I'm not video game streamer Bradley. So there's no pressure at all from my own mental things that I'm thinking about. There's no pressure at all for me to be awesome at this. I just want to figure out how to go online. I just want to figure out how to put a game on the screen. I just want to figure out how to put a webcam on the screen. How do I do these different things? But if it looks like not up to par in quality, that's fine, because I know in my head I am something else. But as I stream more, now it's like, oh no, I'm video game streamer Bradley. Now I'm already trying to make it as cool as I want it to be, but that's also, you got to know what you can put into it without you burning out on whatever it is you want to do. I think it's an invisible line where you don't realize the energy you're putting in, like, yeah, you can spend maybe 12 hours this one day when actually you only have normally 5 hours if you can do it every day or whatever it is. But you just don't realize you're now tapping into these reserves over time. But yeah, so I realized this. I'm like, okay, the only reason why I'm able to keep doing this over and over is because I'm not putting my own, I'm not stressing myself out. Like, I need to not care as much, but I also have different goals. Like, if I don't get big, I already have a job and stuff. So it's different for each person. But if you're like me out there, like, it's please keep that in mind. If you're not seeing if you like seeing some numbers, or if you like certain things, if you want to go and try to achieve certain things, like, if you think through some of these, like, what do you call it, subconscious stressors, it doesn't have to be as stressful. Like, please take care of yourself, and realize that maybe if you have your what do you call it, if you have other things in your life that you also can be proud of as well, it helps your goal to not get burnt out on streaming.
Yeah, I think that's really important. And it's something we've talked about on the podcast a little bit before, is just this issue of burnout. And I really like your attitude of, like, if this goes well, that's cool, but also I'm happy with these other things. And your kind of metamorphosis into streamer Bradley, which I think is awesome. You evolved.
Yeah.
What a lovely Butterfree.
Right? A lovely Butterfree.
Yeah. What's this? Dun, dun. Yeah. That's great. Every streamiversary, it should play that music. What's this? You're evolving.
Oh, that's cool. Awesome.
Yeah, good idea. Write that down.
You do, honestly. You have such amazing ideas for your redeems and your stream stuff and everything. And the newest thing that you added is the Dragon Ball thing, where viewers can redeem Dragon Balls, and then you, like, once you get 7, you can request a game, correct? That's
true, yeah. I was all like, any of you might have run into this problem of, like, I'm racking up the channel points, but I don't know what to spend it on whatever. And I'm all like, okay, so one of the things in my life that I really love is Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is near and dear to my heart, the franchise. And I was like, oh, I know this thing. You can make a wish with 7 Dragon Balls. What if you, once per stream when you're in my stream, you just redeem the Dragon Ball, and then after you get 7 Dragon Balls, you can wish for me to stream anything you want off of this list, though. You can't just tell me to go and stream, I don't know, That's So Raven, the video game from 2000.
Wait, is that a real thing, though?
That is a thing, yeah.
What?
It's probably Game Boy Advance game, probably.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
Yeah, there's so many Disney games out there.
What?
Yeah, everything from that era is probably on Game Boy Advance.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't have cable, so I would wake up on Saturday mornings to watch. That was like 2 hours on the local news station. They would play Disney shows. That was one of them, and it was so good. Oh, man.
It's the future she could see.
Yes, so Raven.
Yeah.
It's so mysterious to me. Oh, man.
And those flashbacks.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, it's like I have this big, like, one of the problems with having a big gaming backlog is I don't know which ones to do next. And so this kind of helps as well. Me, like, what do you most want to see? Whoever most often appears in my stream, then more often gets to pick what I get to stream. And that all makes sense. It's all cozy, everybody.
Yeah. What is your process for coming up? We admire your ideas so much. We talked about, Matt was like, oh man, Bradley just added this Dragon Ball thing. It's brilliant. It's so cool. And I totally agree. And you have the Waz now that you have the Waluigi emotes, and it's so good. What is your process for coming up with these ideas?
Oh boy. Okay. So like a lot, I think for many of us, a lot of the creative stuff can happen when you're just kind of, your mind is just wandering while you're doing a rote task. So when you're showering, going for a walk, when you're cooking and you're not paying, you cook something you've like this, you always cook before. I then start to daydream about things, right? And I think so when I think about the stream, it's like first you start with like, what would be a cool thing to happen? Like, what is the thing that can happen? And you work backwards from there. So I thought, like, I think with this whole like Rocket Monsters, like, y'all going like, "Oh my gosh, this is so cool!" And then now people are realized my WA origins. But then I was like, how do I Waluigi-ize my stream now? Like, people like it, and I was like, okay, so I don't have any subscriber emotes yet. So that could be the perfect thing, is to take those drawings and make them small real quick. I can make them pretty later. See, that's another thing, another steps. And then I thought, what is one of the attributes of Waluigi? He says "wah" a lot, right? He's like "wah." Then I went, wouldn't it be cool if you just Waluigi just like "wah" on the stream? And I was like, okay, all right, let's do that. So I know how to go and get the audio to happen. I can know that people can trigger the wah. It's a lot funnier when someone is watching and then they're all like "wah," especially if maybe you see a character you really like during a stream, like die or something, and then people will be like "wah," all like that'd be pretty funny. But so I just think of like, what do I want to have happen, and what are the things that make people smile the most about the thing that is like. So for Waluigi, it's just the weird wahs, and then how do I tie it into, how do I make it happen from there? Like, oh, that channel redemption and audio. I take the audio, I ripped it from, like, I found a YouTube video of all the wahs, and then from there I just, like, in an audio editor, I just cut out the little 1 second wah, and yeah. So it's just that, yeah. So I just keep thinking of things that would be cool to happen and just work backwards.
So one of the things that I think is really cool about this is that you basically are gamifying your streams. It's like you are taking that brain from Magic cards and applying it into a streaming situation, whereas with your Crystal Nuzlocke, you have all of these channel redeems now for like getting the wild Pokemon or unlocking certain Pokemon so that they can be a part of it. The other thing that I thought was amazing, and I'm like, man, I wish I would have thought of this too, is the you have the sound alerts from Pokemon Stadium when you're doing the Nuzlocke, and they just apply in such good situations, and all of those things just make me smile so much, and it speaks a lot to a game design brain.
Thank you. Yeah, that is a very big compliment to thank you. It is. I would say you're right that the whole Magic design thing carried over to play. Like, how do I? Because you're trying to craft an experience. Well, at least in my end, it's not about, like, I guess I have less skills at being the social type of experience where it's like, I'm really great to talk with because I have. Well, I mean, I'm sure everyone's enjoying talking with me, but. But, I mean, I'm sure the all that stadium, like, it really just helps enhance your watching the game thing happen. Like play Mewtwo's voice while the Mewtwo fight was happening.
Yes.
I thought it'd be really cool to just take and splice around his audio from the video, like the movies and stuff, and just make something that sounded like he would. Yeah, it's totally Magic's fault. I'm hooked on trying to make something cool happen. And if you grew up with Stadium, that was one of the coolest things. Is the announcer would be all like, "Oh, this is getting worrisome." It's like, "Oh, it's 2 down," and I'm all like, I want that to happen in the main line, like when I'm playing the Game Boy thing. So I'm like, it could happen. It could. Let's make it happen. Yeah.
The thing that was cool about that too is it was the actual voice actor from the anime. So everything felt tied in from the anime. Like, all of the Pokemon voices are done from, like, probably 5 people that are voicing all the characters in the show. And I think that's what makes that experience even stronger, is you have that attachment to this cartoon that you watched when you were a kid, and now you're bringing it into the stream. And you get that satisfying, like, reaction when you hear something like that. And the introductions that you would do for each gym leader from that game came into play with that.
Oh, yeah.
And the one that blew me away the most was you got to the champion in Pokemon Yellow, and you played the clip from the Pokemon Origins anime right before it, where Blue is talking to Red, and it's like, you finally made it. And when you did that, I was just like, holy shit, this is so good. I'm so in this moment now.
So you're finally here.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. I think it's Origins is awesome. I think it's a series. I think it's like 4 episodes. But I think that one was from Pokemon Generations, which is there's all sorts of words.
Okay.
But if for all of you listening, Pokemon Generations episode 3, maybe the Elite Four one. Yeah, it's a very good one. You have the power to play audio and video on your stream, right? So it's just like, think of like anything you can put up on screen for people at the certain times. And it makes it a little like little presentation slideshow style, right? Not text, but Matt's text in World of. No, just kidding. Yeah.
It really does feel like you put so much care into everything, because one of my favorite things that you've done is you have a command for when we raid you, and it's you giving kind of an ultramelon pitch, and it's you just like you mention things that we do, and it makes me feel so special. I don't know.
No, I mean, how could it not make me feel special? And to be reminded of the Plungigi.
The Plungigi. Oh my God. Nobody played as Luigi during our Smash tournament. There was no Plungigi.
Plungigi didn't make it.
It was really sad.
Yeah. I still don't know why Plungigi came to be from y'all, but it was one of my favorite things. So I was like, I want to hold on to one of those favorite things, but also I do like, since I have the power of audio and commands, like and y'all are so kindly like and I think it helps. Okay, so now I keep interrupting myself, but y'all are on a time zone later than me, which helps it more often that you raid me, because I'm still awake and I do play late at night. So but because you raid me multiple times, I'm like they're so kind. Like, you know what? And I keep saying how awesome they are. Let me just also like have a command, but not just to like save breath, but also to do something really like funny and cool, and just do that. So whenever you raid, I just put command Ultramelon, and then it goes, "Welcome Raiders," and it's like. Like, for anyone still on the channel, and then it goes into all the stuff. Actually, I've updated it lately, though, so look out for that.
I can't wait.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. Ooh, I just earned another raid. That's what I call network. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, if like you want to, because we're all here to have a great time with each other, and if you reward more of like the nice, awesome behavior, then you tend to make more wonderful things happen. So, don't forget the peeps that were there for you and all that, and hold on. Yeah. Oh.
Very well said.
Amazing.
I appreciate it so much.
Speaking of peeps that are there for you, we've had so many rewarding experiences happen during streaming, and a lot of it has honestly been about finding people. Can you describe your most rewarding streaming experience?
My most rewarding streaming experience. I think it's the streaming Let's Go Pikachu for multiple factors. It checked off a lot of boxes. 1, I had never played this game before. 2, I did not expect just how cute it would be for me.
Yes.
I was like, I knew that you can pet Pikachu. And then going into, like, actually doing it actually warmed my heart. And I feel like it also helped for other people watching. Like, I'm doing a hardcore Nuzlocke of Let's Go Pikachu. Well, it's called hardcore for whatever reasons. But I'm doing that, and some people are like, I love Nuzlocks. Let's see how you do. But then there's, like, people are like, I love Pokemon. And also, I love adorable Pikachu petting. And it's all, like, there in that stream. And I grew up on Red and Blue, and I get to see this beautiful rendition of this thing I grew up on, this region, the Kanto region. I was like, it was amazing. It was awesome. And also, when it came to the Elite Four battles and the rematch into Mewtwo, a lot of, like, y'all were there, and also you and a lot of your community was there. I remember specifically their chats being there. So it was a lot going on. And yeah, so that made me feel really, really warm inside.
That Let's Go Pikachu Nuzlocke was so fun.
Yes.
For me as well. And one of my favorite things that you do is, for that you did a chat lock. which
Oh,
is
yeah.
where you name the Pokemon after people in your streams, and there are a bunch of different like listing rules and all of that. But it was, you do such a good job of making people feel welcome and special, and I think that's just so incredible. But
Yeah, it was like it was a happy accident ish, where I was like, hey, let's start. I was doing Pokemon Yellow was my first Nuzlocke stream, and I had done Nuzlockes forever. I love doing those, and also Games Backlog. Those are my balances. I'm like, hey, I've done Mario Odyssey, never done it. And now I'm gonna do a Nuzlocke. I was like, okay, cool. I forgot about this. Actually, this one implicit rule or that everyone does is when you go to name your Pokemon. I got my Pikachu. I was like, oh, I didn't come up with the naming theme. Like, and I'm on stream right now. I'm all like, what do I do? And I was like, well, I need to quickly get a bunch of names that I can pull from, and I don't want to just say, oh, we're doing fruits. This one's strawberry. This one's. I saw this list of
Plum.
like. Yeah. I just saw on my stream HUD like the list of people who had followed me in the past, and I was like, there it is. There's my list of names. It's people who followed me. So I'm gonna go, and it's easier for me to go from newest to oldest. But also works out that if you're watching and you follow during the stream, I will get to your name right then and there. Which also gives people are waiting. But anyway, there's a lot of Pokemon to catch. I'll get to you, which I did. I moved back to so I just came up with that, but also was kind of cool to be like, hey, I'm rooting for me on there. That's me on there. So yeah, it was a happy accident of that, and I felt like that really maybe helped a little bit with feeling a little connected, like a little narrative, like, oh no, I can't believe Ultramelon the Hitmonlee died, and now we have to like take a shot. I think Matt even is like, or I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a sad time, and I actually went and took a drink in real life, and it wouldn't have happened if I didn't name it after you.
That was so heartbreaking.
Oh no.
But also just so exciting.
Yeah.
And yesterday we found out that you had already decided to name your starter after Matt, and I was folding laundry and I was just like, oh my god, like it was so cool. It blew my mind.
I was very honored.
It's so cool to know, like, oh, like, we think about Bradley all the time, and Bradley thinks about us, you know? Like, I just think it's so awesome. Yeah.
It's just another one of those things you could control of, like, how do you, I don't know, reward people that go and are your viewers and all that. And I just know that, Matt was into Nuzlocking as well, and Heart Gold, which is one of probably my favorite game as well for playing Pokemon because of the Kanto and Johto region.
Yes.
Together. Yeah, exactly. And so because of that whole there's the samesies there as well. It was all like, this feels appropriate that like when I get my starter, the one thing I'll control here is what I name it, and I'll name it Punchliner this time, just to kind of pay an homage to like, oh, it's my fellow Nuzlocker in my community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it touches me very, very warmly here.
Yes. Excellent. Plan C has already been activated.
It's really just a ploy to like get him to go to every single Crystal Nuzlocke stream. We'll be like streaming, and he'll see that you're live and be like, all right, well, thanks for watching the stream. We're going to go raid Bradley. Gotta check in on Punchliner.
Because this is that same region, the Johto region. So yeah, that's the perfect time to do it. So if I know anybody that's like all into the Hoenn region, which I do want to Nuzlocke Emerald, which I never played, someday in the future, maybe I'll encounter Emerald Fan 1000 in my viewer community. I'm like, gotta be you. But yeah, like my rival, for example, like I'm named Konamix. I named myself Konamix because there's one of my viewers loves to call me Mr. Konamix because I streamed Konamix, DDR Konamix one time, or a couple times, like months ago, but they still call me Mr. Konamix, and that I love that. So I was like, I'm gonna name myself Konamix, name my Pokemon Punchliner, and then my rival, one of my viewers is called Johto Silver, after Silver, the rival, the default name for the rival. So I was like, okay, this is Jay Silver. So it's all good. We're all having a fun time.
It really is really fun and special.
Yeah.
We are approaching the end of the podcast. So before we end, I want to know, what is one thing that you hope people will take away about you from this conversation?
Ooh, about me. So I'm hoping that that peeps are, if you're into like a little more of an experience of just like having a little playfulness with the games that you're playing, like looking at the games together and just having a good time, then I hope that's the takeaway, is because in like life is a bunch of random things that happen, and eventually it ends, and that's kind of bleak. And
just
see all
like
these
the
laughers that's
podcast,
happening
life
right now.
ends.
Yeah. If it weren't for Mario Odyssey, you wouldn't be listening to me right now, and that's really random. And then just make a lot of laughs along the way, or do whatever kind of cool things along the way, and just know that that's what my streams are, has this little spirit of that in it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really, I mean, yeah, you wouldn't, and I think we were playing Mario 64 or something. And that's why I was like, Odyssey, cool. So Odyssey
Amazing.
and Mario 64. There we go.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
It's a good mix there. And I always appreciate the fact that you live on the West Coast, and I can check you out after our streams are over.
Yes.
When you're streaming, and especially when you're streaming the Nuzlocke, you become a large part of the bedtime routine. And then sometimes I stay up way too late because I'm like, I gotta just keep watching.
Especially when we raid you, I stay up way too late. It's not good.
No.
And then I know frequently I'll come into your streams and I'll be like, I'm getting ready for bed. Watching while I get ready for bed.
For all of you nuzzling up with this Nuzlocke, please also go to bed. I'll be here. Watch the VOD.
Watch the VOD.
That's awesome.
So do you have anything important coming up on your channel that you want people to know about?
No. Let's see. I have the Crystal Nuzlocke. I died again, so it's just going to start fresh as if you had never missed anything. So that's coming up. I'm in the middle of Batten Kaitos, an RPG with a card-based battle system from GameCube days, and I'm playing it on the original GameCube. That's currently ongoing, and so look forward to those. I've got more retro games to play in the future, more card-based games in the future. I play Slay the Spire a lot. Nuzlocke, more Pokemon. Arceus will happen after Crystal.
Oh,
I never played Arceus.
So exciting.
I'm thinking about it, but I've never played Arceus, and I know it's overworld. But I always like the Nuzlocke when I can. I had
so much fun with that one, so I'm looking forward.
That's
to
a great play.
Yeah. Is there anywhere other than twitch.tv/bradleyrose where people can find information on what you're doing?
Ooh, I have an Instagram account called Rocket Monsters.
So good. I didn't know this. I didn't know there was an Instagram.
Yeah, but it's lately I haven't been doing that stuff. So you can go to Instagram at WACKET Monsters to just find what I post. I repost from TikTok as well, which is Brad T Rose, the letter T. And then I also have a Twitter account at Bradley Rose. So those are all places you might find me prowling around the internet doing random posts of such. When I am working out, I like to do little workout updates of here's how many calories I burned, and I put it to a little anime clip or something. An
anime clip?
I don't know.
Awesome.
That's what helps get me to you should exercise, Brad. And he's like, I know. I'll do a Rock Lee little clip thing.
Broccoli is an inspiration,
Seriously.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's where you can find me.
Nice. So many places. Yeah. I need to work on our social media stuff. It's a thing. Maybe we'll talk about that.
Don't spread yourself thin. Only do as much as you know you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot. There's Threads now. What is that? I don't know. So don't worry about it. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
My Instagram. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, YouTube. What am I doing? YouTube. You can find me on YouTube, too. I think it's just Bradley Rose. But anyway, you can find me somehow there.
Nice.
Yeah. There's so many platforms.
For us, we are doing the podcast weekly. We are also now on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Audible, Podbean, Podchaser, iHeartRadio. Am I missing any?
Not that I know of.
I think
no.
that's all of them. And then next week we're going to have Natoid on, which I'm super excited about. Nate is great. We're big fans.
If you want to check out the podcast live, it's every Sunday at 3 p.m. Central Time. And if you want to be a couple weeks behind and you want to listen to the audio version of the podcast, it comes out every Tuesday at 7 a.m. Central Time. And that's what that's going to be. But for the rest of our channel, what we've been doing lately is a Kingdom Hearts marathon. We have played through Kingdom Hearts 1, Chain of Memories, 358, and we're about to finish 2 tonight to date the podcast.
Yes.
And you'd expect for the next coming months, basically our summer vacation of Kingdom Hearts. We're trying to get Alicia caught up to speed so I can finally talk to her about this series because I've been waiting for a long time to do that.
I'm really excited.
Yeah.
It's going to happen soon.
It's going to happen soon.
We're working our way through all of that.
We're working our way downtown, for sure. But
Thank you.
Eat your vegetables, take your vitamins, and ta-ta for now from me.
And remember not to compare yourself to strangers on the internet. This has been Playerspectives. Thank you so much for listening.